It's defensive line time for the Bengals, which could mean some bad injury news, but certainly means that the Bengals are about to add a veteran, the latest on the Bengals' pursuit for a new defensive tackle. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Yeah, the Bengals are 0-2, but very much in it, very much in the hunt. And I would say the biggest concern right now isn't Joe Burrow after his performance against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's defensive line depth, specifically defensive tackle depth. They lost their two starters to hamstring injuries on Sunday against the Chiefs. BJ Hill first, Sheldon Rankins second. Both guys sort of day to day, but it doesn't feel great about their status, especially with the latest report here. Tom Pelissero of NFL Network reporting that Lawrence Guy, Albert Huggins, two veteran defensive tackles that the Bengals are bringing in for a workout on Tuesday, among others. And I'll get to the others in just a second. I'll get to who I think is most likely to fill in if needed. And yet I look at this, and Lawrence Guy is 34 years old, would instantly be the oldest guy on the Bengals roster, started 103 games for the Patriots over the past 7 years. Makes a lot of sense. Why? You need an innings eater at this point. You need someone that's going to be able to come in and eat snaps and play snaps and give you something in the middle of your defensive line while your defensive line gets healthy, because it's not just your two starters. Chris Jenkins, still recovering from a thumb injury. We don't know, or thumb surgery, excuse me. We don't know if he's going to be ready for this week against the Commanders. McKinley Jackson, another rookie, out for at least two more games. Albert Huggins, 27 years old, has bounced around the league. He did play or start 5 games for the Falcons last season. Former Clemson Tiger. The Bengals have gone to that well a couple of times. Obviously, Myles Murphy, KJ Henry. Who knows? Maybe Albert Huggins will be the next one. I'm going to name a couple of more that would make sense to me. And I'll start with Mike Purcell. Of all these guys, Lawrence Guy, Albert Huggins, if the Bengals aren't turned off by Lawrence Guy being 34 years old, well, then why not look at Mike Purcell, who's 33 years old, rather, had 10 starts for the Broncos last season and has played in at least 13 games in each of the past 3 seasons. And so you need durability. You've had durability issues. He can be durable for you, and was waived by the Patriots in August, still out there. Who knows? Lawrence Guy makes a ton of sense. I mean, you're talking about a guy, 172 career games, 34 years old, like I said. So we'll see there. And then another one, Carl Davis. Wouldn't be shocking if the Bengals brought him in for a visit. He appeared in 3 games for the Cowboys last season, was released in August. But it's slim pickings right now. And the Bengals certainly in the market for a defensive tackle. I expect them to add one of these guys, which doesn't mean anything, but it also could be scary when it comes to, all right, well, what happens with BJ Hill? What happens with Sheldon Rankins? How serious are their injuries? We don't know yet. We won't hear from Zach Taylor again until Thursday. But what I do know is I expect the Bengals to sign a defensive tackle within the coming hours, or certainly the next day. With Tuesday and Wednesday off, you can bring someone in, you can get them up to speed so they can play on Monday night against Washington. What if the Bengals promote in-house? I'll get to the in-house option that might be being overlooked a bit coming up next. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. BetUS has the fastest payouts in the industry, and you got to take advantage of them right now and take advantage of the fastest payouts, because week 3 of the NFL season is here. And if you're like me, you're starting to get a feel for things, feel for certain teams. And that's why you got to get in on the action right now. And if you go to betus.com right now and use code YouTube150, you're going to get a 150% bonus on not 1, not 2, but your first 3 deposits. All you have to do is go to betus.com and boom, use code YouTube150, and you're going to get that bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. BetUS is awesome. You can do live wagering on all major games, whether it's Thursday night, Sunday night, Saturday with the college games, or of course, Monday Night Football, where the Bengals play this week. Don't delay. Take advantage of the fastest payouts in the industry and get a 150% bonus up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits with code YouTube150. What if I told you that the Bengals' next nose tackle, the guy that they could be banking on Monday night, is already in the building? I think 7th round rookie Justin Rogers might be exactly who fills this void and is promoted from or elevated from the practice squad. And who knows, may even start or get close to starting. Obviously, they have multiple options on the roster. They could go with Dominique Davis as well. But to me, Justin Rogers on the practice squad, Davis on the practice squad as well. If you're looking for someone that can play that nose tackle role, Justin Rogers is 6'2, 330, can fill up space. And so you add a Lawrence guy, for example, or you add one of these guys that you're working out, that's fine. And that could also be in addition to a guy like Rodgers being up and being elevated and playing substantial snaps. Would not shock me at all if that's the case. The Bengals are just so thin right now in that defensive tackle room. It's Zach Carter, Jay Tufele. That's it. Because Hill, Rankins, Jenkins, all hurt, all dealing with something. So even if you get Jenkins back, you're going to want to add a body. But I do think that Rodgers is one of those guys where if you looked at the pre-draft process, and he was a 7th round pick by the Cowboys, got cut, ended up joining the Bengals practice squad. He was one of those guys during the draft process that was similar to McKinley Jackson as a prospect. And I don't think that there were a lot of people that had them, like Lance Zierlein had him in round 6 for his grade. And then McKinley Jackson, I'll just look up what Zierlein had just to give you an idea. He had him round 6 as well. So very comparable prospects. Obviously, the Bengals were higher on McKinley Jackson, took him with the 97th overall pick. He's 6'1.5", 326. The bottom line is, if you want that nose tackle, the best option might be a guy in-house, a guy like Justin Rogers. So don't be shocked at all if Rogers, Dominique Davis, one of these guys, gets elevated from the practice squad for that Monday night game, even if they do add one of these other players that they're working out. To me, Lawrence guy makes a ton of sense. You can't discount the Clemson connection with Huggins, and then Mike Purcell. I think Purcell guy, they're experienced. Purcell's been durable. You want someone that's been there, done that, and we'll see because if you're bringing someone else in, that makes sense, especially when you have guys like McKinley Jackson, Chris Jenkins, and like I said, Rogers, Justin Rogers, young, potentially promising rookies. Getting a little bit more experience would make a ton of sense. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, check out Enter the Jungle tonight. That's right. Tonight, Enter the Jungle, 8 Eastern. We're going to break down Joe Burrow. We're going to discuss the 0-2 start and much, much more. And also make sure you get to BetUS today. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.